Meanwhile, the other guards swarm the exit, and they're ready with puncturing tools to stop the van. But it's too late, because the driver floors the gas pedal, running over the guards and everything in front of the car, and they zoom out without a hitch, while our boy is still hanging onto that van. The minivan swerves wildly, and Jin is struggling to hold on as the vehicle juggles around. Just as he's fighting to keep his grip, his mind flashes back to a conversation with Major Kang. In the memory, Jin is sitting with Kang, who's explaining what family means. Kang says that while family is different for everyone, it's something truly precious. Jin's still not quite getting it, so Kang gives him an example. His dedication to serving his country might be so strong because it's also where his family lives. Innocently, Jin asks if someone would give their lives for their family as well. Kang is caught off guard and doesn't know how to respond at first. Then he smiles and says that if it came to that, he'd gladly do it. Back in the present, as Jin clings to the minivan, he grits his teeth and tightens his grip. He slams the minivan so hard that the glass begins to shatter. The driver, distracted by the commotion, doesn't notice an oncoming car in the intersection. The two vehicles collide, and Jin is violently flung off, crashing down about 10 meters away. Right at that moment, the minivan guy takes its chance, slams the gas pedal, and speeds away. Jin then also starts running after the car. Inside, a woman with black hair glances back at him, giving him a mischievous twinkle with her eye. As Jin runs after the van, he starts to fall further behind until the vehicle disappears from view. Once he is exhausted, he comes to a halt. But just then, the senior guard arrives, and he quickly asks which way the van went. Jin doesn't answer. Instead, he hops into the car, which annoys the senior, who sternly tells him to get out. But Jin tells him to just hit the gas pedal and gives him the precise direction of where the van went. Reluctantly, the senior guard hits the gas. He then also reports to his subordinates that the kidnappers took a side road to the right and instructs them to coordinate with the police and dispatch their units. He then also reminds Jin that he should just drop off on the way home since he's just a kid and not part of the security team. He adds that his involvement in this mess wasn't his responsibility. But Jin counters, saying he's currently in practical training and chose to be here tonight, so he's the only one responsible for his presence. He also reports that he saw one male and one female in the vehicle, both of whom were Asian, but he didn't notice any other accomplices with them. As the senior guard looks at Jin, ready to berate him further, he notices Jin's injured face and hands. Concerned, he quickly asks if Jin is all right. Jin replies that he is fine. The senior is struggling to come to terms with the fact that Jin was reported to be hanging onto the vehicle and was the first to track down the kidnappers. He also managed to hang on as long as he could, identified their route, and even saved Miss Yona once. The senior realizes that Jin has proven himself in this situation, and he can't think of anyone more reliable right now. Meanwhile, Yona receives news that Madame Jie has been kidnapped. Her guard explains that they've left the security to a minimum and sent out all units to find her. Team 2 and NGU are currently in pursuit of the kidnappers. Yona perks up at the mention of Jin, and the bodyguard further explains that Jin had been on duty with them when the incident happened. A while later, Jin and his senior guard make their way to a rundown factory, because this is the last place kidnappers have been spotted. Right on cue, they also spot the same minivan, and the kidnappers are carrying Miss Jai in the wheelchair with them. Senior knows that they don't have time to wait for reinforcements, so he tells Jin to stay put. As he steps out of the car, he's shocked to see a group of scruffy individuals emerging from the minivan, each armed with a sharp knife. Jin also gets out of the car and insists that they can't wait for others to arrive. The senior then reminds him that this isn't like training since it's real combat. Jin responds quickly, saying he doesn't mind. This response triggers a flashback for the senior, who recalls the shock he felt when the team leader of Team 3 revealed that our boy is a professional fighter. The gorilla even confirms it once again, saying that based on everything he's seen, this is at least his conclusion. Back in the present, as our boy strides forward confidently, the bodyguard finally decides to head down further. He tells Jin that he'll take care of things inside the shelter, so he better not let those filthy swine beat him. Just then, one of the goons tries to stab the senior, but our guy quickly sneaks up on the bastard from behind and delivers a devastating blow to his face, causing the dagger to drop from his hand. But before he can catch a break, another sucker swings his dagger at our boy. But once again, my guy throws this sucker down this sucker backwards, and Jin himself quickly grabs that fallen dagger from the ground and stands back to face off these stupid heads.